Hey everyone, Tassif here. Saturday night, and I'm here doing a live stream. So thanks to anyone who has joined already. Please write something in the chat window. And that's something that I always say. Please write something in the chat window so that I know who's here, so that I can personally greet you and I can mention your name. So please do that. Write something in the chat window. There's something very important that I'm going to be discussing during this live stream. Obviously, you may have already seen the title of the live stream, the question that I have asked, and the question is the southern border crisis an invasion? And I know that we have very strong opinions about this issue, and that's what we're going to be discussing here. So please, my friends, if you're here, write something in the chat window. Let me know you're here. Say hello, write where you're from, write your question, write your comment, and just stay connected with me. So, my friends, who's here? Let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Oh, Cat007 is here. Cat007, thank you for being here. Hope things are well on your end. And I guess I'm going to wait for 30 more seconds before I jump into the discussion. My friend Terry from South Dakota is writing, hello, Terry. Always wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining. And okay, I see more people have joined. Hi, everyone who's joining us for this live stream. Please write something in the chat window and let me know who's here. Once you comment, then I know who's here, okay? And then I can personally greet you. I can mention your name. So please write something in the chat window. All right, my friends, we're past 2 minutes, so I'm going to get started. And let's welcome more people as they join. So, my friends, the question is the southern border crisis an invasion? And that's the question that I'm starting this podcast with. eRocker78 is here. Hello again, eRocker78. Thank you for being here. So, my friends, really, I mean, I'll let you think for a few moments. Do you think that the southern border crisis is an invasion? I will let you think about it, and you can try to answer that question yourself. If you have thoughts, feel free to share in the chat window. And of course, I'm going to be talking about it. That's why I'm doing this live stream. And you know, as you are thinking about the word invasion, think about the images from the southern border, the video clips from the southern border. Have you seen the images of the illegal immigrants rushing to enter the United States and knocking down National Guard soldiers? Have you seen those images? Have you seen those video clips? This happened in El Paso, Texas, and the images are all over the internet. Watch those video clips again and again. Look at those images again and again and ask yourself, is the southern border crisis an invasion? My friends, people are worried. Americans are very nervous. It's very disturbing to see what's happening at the southern border. Terry writes, yes. And eRocker78 is writing, yes, but our government is allowing it, so it's hard to call it an invasion when the government wants to leave the door wide open. That is an excellent point, eRocker78. That is an excellent point. Teresa Ross is here. Teresa, thank you for joining. Teresa Ross is writing, if it was another country, they would consider it a serious invasion. Okay. Yeah, that is true, Teresa. And my friend Terry Dunlap writes, I was told this crashing happens a lot. You know, those are all very good points. Those are all very good points. So Terry is writing that she was told this crashing happens a lot. So we might have seen the images from El Paso, but how do we know that such incidents are not happening in other parts of the border? And so this may be a very common thing, but maybe what happened in El Paso was caught on camera, and that's how we know. because it's on the internet. And let's see. Teresa Ross writes, if it was another country, they would consider it a serious invasion. That's correct. And eRocker78 has a good point. Okay, an invasion is when people are forcing their way into a territory, right? That's invasion. But eRocker78 writes, yes, but our government is allowing it. So it's hard to call it an invasion when the government wants to leave the door wide open, right? That's a very good point. You know, invasion is some kind of forced entry. When you leave the border open and people are forcing their not leave the border open. When you've got a border, you've got a barrier, you've got a door, but people are forcing their way into a territory, that's an invasion. But if the federal government, if the Biden administration is leaving the border open, is allowing people to come into the country, is that really an invasion? It's also a sort of enticement, right? The liberal politicians are providing all kinds of taxpayer-funded services, and that's enticing the migrants to come in. So on one hand, yes, it is an invasion. On the other hand, the government, the federal government, not I shouldn't say the federal government. I'm not talking about general federal government, because obviously there are Republicans in Congress who are also part of federal government. They don't want to see this happen. They want to secure the border. So rather than saying federal government, I'm going to say the Biden administration. The Biden administration and its liberal allies in government are allowing this thing to happen. So all great points. So thanks for sharing your thoughts. Terry also writes, but if I leave my front door open and 110 people come in, invaded. eRocker78 is writing, what is the point of having borders if anyone is allowed to come across? That's exactly the point. And let me just tell you what I think, and I've mentioned this before. You know, when we live in an apartment or a condo or a house, that's our home, that's our private space, right? And no one has the right to come in without our permission. When you look at the whole country, this is also our home. Collectively, this is our home. We live in the United States and we have a border, and we protect our home. Of course, people can come in. We grant visas, we grant green cards. People come in for tourism, for education, for work, for pleasure, so many things. But there's a process for that. They can apply for a visa. They can apply for legal authorization to come into the United States and to stay here and to be here and to work here. And then they have to leave after a certain time. Or if they get green card and they have a pathway to U.S. citizenship, they can become U.S. citizens. There's a process. So the United States of America is our home. So when the southern border is kept wide open, that's like leaving the door open, leaving the door of our house open, and people are coming in, and that's a problem. And it's happening against our will. That's the main point. We don't want the border to be open, but the Biden administration is keeping the border open. And that's why I say the Biden administration created this border crisis. They are allowing this to happen. Terry writes, I got the impression some people in our government do not want borders. One world government has no borders. Terry, there are people in government, I'm sure. I mean, look at the folks in the Biden administration, right? They have, it seems like they have no sense of borders. I mean, why are they keeping it open? Why are millions and millions of people allowed to come into our country? eRocker78 writes, they say the border is closed, but they can't say it's closed when they're suing to cut razor wire. Exactly. And that's where I give credit to Greg Abbott, because Greg Abbott, he's not a federal official. He's the governor of a state, but he is working so hard to use the resources that he has, to use the authority that he has to secure the Texas border. So he's doing the best. And, if we had more Greg Abbotts in this country, though, we wouldn't have this problem. if Arizona would have taken the same steps as Greg Abbott is taking, if California would have done the same thing, then the things wouldn't be as bad. But Arizona has a Democrat governor, and so we can't expect the Arizona governor to do what Greg Abbott in Texas is doing. I know the Arizona governor can complain a little bit, but is the governor really going to take the steps that Greg Abbott is taking in Texas? And California, Gavin Newsom. I mean, Gavin Newsom is a Biden ally. Okay, so I don't expect Gavin Newsom to take any steps to combat illegal immigration. In fact, he wants to give taxpayer dollars to the illegal immigrants. Gavin Newsom, Eric Adams of New York, Brandon Johnson of Chicago, they all belong to the same club. They love illegal immigration, and I know that because their policies speak. If you just follow their policies, you know what they're doing. They're prioritizing illegal immigrants. Let's read some comments here. eRocker78 writes, they are incentivizing them to come here with free money and benefits. Exactly. eRocker78, you're writing that they're incentivizing the illegals to come here with free money and benefits. It's free for the illegal immigrants, but it's not free for us. It's not free for the American taxpayer, because our tax dollars are being used to give free benefits to the migrants. So thank you for all the comments and all the questions. And there are some more things that I want to say. So please stay connected, and please continue this conversation in the chat window. So my friends, we've seen millions and millions. Some estimates say more than 9 million, some say more than 10 million illegal immigrants have entered the United States since Joe Biden came to office. Now, when we see millions of people from all over the world entering the United States illegally, what conclusion can we draw? As we already discussed, some call it an invasion, and some point out that it is an invasion, but the Biden administration is allowing it to happen. But I have seen multiple legislators at the federal level, and also, people in general, as I'm having conversations with people, they are drawing the conclusion that our country is being invaded by illegal immigrants. But there are liberals who try to, lighten the image. They don't call it a crisis at the border. Many liberals call it a challenge. They call it a problem. They use words to lighten the true picture of the crisis. But this crisis is not just a crisis. As I said, many Americans believe that this is an invasion. The migrants stormed the El Paso border wall. Where is border security? And that's why people are saying that our country is being invaded by these foreign nationals, and we don't know who these people are, where they are coming from. We don't know their history. We don't know their background, nothing. And that's why many people are calling it an invasion. They're calling it an invasion. And we are being robbed. Our resources are being robbed. We are being robbed because our dollars, our resources are being taken away to pay for housing and other services for the illegal immigrants. So it's free, as eRocker78 pointed out, it's free benefits for the illegals, but somebody is paying for all this stuff. Who's paying for all this stuff? The American taxpayers. The American taxpayers are paying for all this stuff. And the liberal politicians, they're allowing this to happen. They're facilitating this process of snatching our tax dollars and our freedom. Many liberal politicians in various cities are using their government powers to take away our taxpayer dollars to provide services to the illegal immigrants. We are being robbed. Our future is being destroyed. Our economy, once it was bright and shining, is being burnt to ashes. That's what's happening. Our money is losing value. Our savings are being depleted. And the liberals are enticing more and more illegal immigrants to come into the country and take everything away from us. My friends, Do you think it's an invasion? Many people call it an invasion. My friends, let me share with you. Congresswoman Debbie Lesko of Arizona. She introduced legislation to declare the crisis at the southern border an invasion. Okay? Congresswoman Lesko of Arizona said, "We have run out of words to express the magnitude of the crisis at our border." That is correct. That is correct. And she further said, "The only word that aptly describes the situation on the ground is invasion, which is happening every day at our southern border and negatively impacting communities across this nation." Those words are so true, coming from Congresswoman Debbie Lesko of Arizona. Let me talk about Ted Cruz, U.S. Senator from the great state of Texas. And Texas obviously is facing, is directly experiencing this crisis. Ted Cruz says, "We must defend our nation first." That is correct. That is absolutely correct. And he says, "No state bears the brunt of this burden," meaning illegal immigration. He says, "No state bears the brunt of this burden more heavily than Texas, which is on the front lines of a literal invasion of millions upon millions of illegal immigrants." Again, he's using the word invasion. Debbie Lesko is using the word invasion. Ted Cruz is using the word invasion. And there are many elected officials who are using the word invasion to refer to the crisis at the southern border. My friends, let me now move a little bit away from the southern border and let me go to Chicago. I want to talk about Chicago. And you need to know, if you don't know this already, you need to know what's happening in Chicago. On Wednesday, more migrants arrived in Chicago from the southern border. And this is happening as the city is running out of resources to provide services to the migrants. And this is happening as Chicago faces a measles outbreak. Cat 007 writes, "Brandon Johnson of Chicago has displaced special needs of children's program in place of housing migrants." Lots of things are happening in Chicago, Cat 007. I mean, there are so many Americans in need of help. Homeless Americans, many of them are veterans. There are many children living in poverty, many disabled individuals living in Chicago who need help. But are they getting the help that they need? They are not, because millions and millions, tens of millions of tax dollars are going to the migrants. The migrants are getting services, and American citizens are not getting the priority. My friends, I'm going to talk about Chicago. I'm going to tell you what's happening there. The city is facing a measles outbreak, and yet more and more and more illegal immigrants continue to arrive in Chicago. The illegal immigrants just keep coming, and they are bringing diseases and illnesses which might affect the American population negatively. Many migrants have infectious diseases, and they're crossing the border, they're coming into our country, they're going to New York, Chicago, so many other cities, and the American population is at risk because of those infectious diseases. Reportedly, the city of Chicago has launched a vaccine campaign. Newly arrived illegal immigrants are receiving the MMR vaccine. Wow. Can you think about it? The illegal immigrants, they're coming here. Many of them have infectious diseases. And as a result of that, there's a measles outbreak in Chicago. And now the city of Chicago has launched a vaccine campaign, and they're bringing they're giving MMR vaccine to illegal immigrants. And the question is, who's paying for the vaccine? I mean, that's an obvious question, right? Who's paying for the vaccine? I mean, the vaccines are not free. I mean, it's free for the illegal immigrants, I'm guessing. I don't think the city of Chicago is handing the illegal immigrants a bill for the vaccine, the cost of the vaccine. So the illegal immigrants may be getting the vaccine for free, but who's paying for it? Are you know I don't know who's paying for it. I would love to know, but my guess is that the taxpayers are paying for the vaccine. So let me get the picture here, okay? These illegal immigrants, we don't know who they are. We don't know where they're from. We don't know their background, but we do know that many of them have contagious illnesses. And the Biden administration is still allowing these people to come in, knowing that many of them are bringing diseases and illnesses. And then the city of Chicago is giving them vaccines. And who's paying for the vaccines? Once again, if you ask me to make a guess, I would say, as I said a moment ago, the American taxpayers are paying for the vaccines. So the question, who's paying for the vaccines? I would love to see Brandon Johnson come out and say who's paying for the vaccine. I would love to see him answer the question. But if you ask me to guess, I think it's the taxpayers. Remember, my friends, during the COVID outbreak, the liberals shut down American businesses. The liberals forced people to stay at home. They forced adults and children and many senior citizens to wear masks. Many senior citizens in long-term care facilities, they suffered from isolation during COVID outbreak. And the liberals forced people to get COVID-19 vaccines, whether the Americans wanted those vaccine shots or not. Many people had no choice. They had to get the vaccines. There was a mandate. And remember how the liberals hurt our economy during the COVID outbreak. And now the liberals are allowing illegal immigrants to bring measles and other diseases into the United States. This is unjust. This is unjust. Okay? We must put Americans first. My friends, share with me your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me read some comments here. They tried to, eRocker78 writes, they tried to force Americans to take the COVID vaccine. And they let all these sick people in and don't even force them to take a measles vaccine. So, you know, this is spreading contagious illnesses. What if this goes out of control? What if so many people become infected with measles that a huge chunk of the city gets in? I mean, I don't know. I'm not I'm a healthcare policy analyst by training, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not an infectious disease expert, but I do know that during COVID outbreak, the liberal politicians in positions of power in government, they imposed many restrictions, many rules, many mandates that severely hurt American people and businesses. And now, as eRocker78 pointed out, the liberals are allowing people with infectious diseases to come into the country. This is not fair. So, my friends, there's something else I want to talk about, which I think is very important. So I've talked about the public health aspect, but let me now talk about the American dream, our real estate, our property, our land. The illegal immigrants are coming for our homes, our property, our real estate, and our land. Let me tell you what's going on. A migrant published a video online to ask other migrants to invade unoccupied homes in America and to invoke squatters' rights. Have you seen that? I'm sure many of you have seen that, or at least I don't know if you've seen the video of the migrant speaking, but you've obviously, I'm guessing you've heard about this in the news. I mean, think about it. A migrant published a video online. Okay, he published a video online, and he is asking, he's calling on other migrants to invade unoccupied homes in America and to invoke squatters' rights. What it means is the migrants are now thinking of taking away Americans' property. I mean, just think about how serious this is. This is terrible news for any and all property owners in the United States. The migrants are now planning to invade Americans' homes and to push property owners out of their own property. The illegal immigrants are trying to destroy the American dream of home ownership, and the liberal politicians are helping in that process. eRocker78 writes, it makes me worry about even leaving my house for more than a day. Exactly. That's exactly what many Americans are going to be thinking. I mean, don't you want to go for a vacation for 3 days, 4 days, or 7 days? Don't you want to go, and I know that many people, let me tell you, many people can't afford to go on a vacation because of Biden's inflation. Many people cannot go on a nice trip uh, outside the country, or to somewhere, some other part of the country, because gas is so expensive and air travel is no longer comfortable. You see all these things happening on planes, and the space is getting smaller and smaller, and there are so many things happening with airplanes. Anyway, air travel is just a pain, I think. So first of all, many Americans can't afford to go on vacation. They can't afford to go on cruise ships or to go somewhere nice. But let's say you're able to afford a 7 day vacation somewhere nice. Go somewhere warm, go outside the country, or if you can afford, go and travel around the world. Spend a month or 2 months and see different parts of the world. Well, now you're going to have to worry, if you leave your home for 7 days, if you leave your home for a month, are you going to come back and see squatters living on your property? I mean, this is crazy, scary stuff. This is unbelievably scary. Okay, Susan Epp is here. Susan, thank you for joining. It's good to see you. I'm going to read some comments here. Let's see. Terry writes, squatters. Yep, I've seen. Uh, Terry writes, squatters is one reason I moved out to my family farm. My mom had to go to assisted living. So Terry and eRocker78, you both understand how serious this issue is. Terry is writing from her own experience that Terry had to move out to her family farm because Terry's mom had to go to assisted living. So Terry understands that it's important to protect your assets, your property, your family's assets. Okay, because there's that risk of squatters taking over. And eRocker78 is writing that it makes me worry about even leaving my house for more than a day. Exactly. So it's like being in some kind of prison. We don't have the freedom to travel anymore. If you are an American homeowner and you think that you're gonna go, like, let's say wherever you live in New York, okay, and you're thinking that you're gonna go and spend a month in Florida and enjoy the warm sunshine, right? I mean, you're probably not going to be comfortable doing that, because you come home and what if squatters have taken over your property? So American homeowners are becoming prisoners in their own homes because they are afraid to leave and go somewhere for a few days because they are afraid of squatters. And now we know that 9 million or more than 10 million illegal immigrants are already here in the United States. Okay, and there's this migrant who has thousands, or I don't know how many, hundreds of thousands of followers maybe on social media, and this guy published a video online asking other migrants to take over unoccupied homes in America and to invoke squatters' rights. And this video got millions of views, and the word is spreading. And this is just very scary stuff. Very, very scary stuff. eRocker78 writes, I worry about them breaking in at night. Exactly. This is so scary. eRocker78 writes, I park my vehicles inside the garage at night. So American homeowners are very, very worried. And so the illegal immigrants, they're trying to destroy the American dream of home ownership. And the liberal politicians are helping in that process. So my friends, pay attention to what's going on. First, the liberals opened the door to allow illegal immigrants into the country. Then they enticed more and more illegals by offering them free housing, free food, and many other free services. And to provide these services, the liberals used American taxpayer dollars. And now these illegals, they feel so empowered that they want, not, I'm not saying all, but as we know from the news reports, that there are illegal immigrants who want to take over American homes. And so these illegal immigrants who are openly talking about invoking squatter rights, they seem to have no fear. No fear of law enforcement, no fear of legal consequences. They disregard the rule of law, and they wish to invade our country in every possible way, take our dollars, invade our homes, and the Biden administration is still not securing the southern border. And Susan writes, Hawaii has very pro squatters' rights, so it's easy to be a squatter in Hawaii. So this is a huge problem. And I think more and more Americans are starting to pay attention because this is a big threat. Let me tell you, this is a very big threat. Squatters' rights. I mean, if this becomes a widespread problem, which I think it's going to become, because now the illegal immigrants are openly talking about invoking squatters' rights. So if this becomes a widespread problem, the American dream of home ownership will be gone. It'll be destroyed. It'll be non-existent. The American dream will be gone if the squatters take over people's homes. Billy Wiggins, thank you for joining this live stream, Billy. Is this your first time, Billy? I don't know if I've seen you participate in the chat window before. So, anytime I see a name which I don't recall seeing before, I like to ask if this is the first time you're joining the live stream, or maybe you've joined the live stream. Oh, been here before. Okay, Billy, thank you. Thanks for letting me know that you've been here before. So it's good to have you here. Thank you so much. Billy, as I have said a number of times before, my channel here, we want to feel like a community. So it's not just me speaking and sharing my views, but I want others to engage in the live chat window, because it's like a community of freedom-loving Americans. Okay, so thank you for being here, Billy. All right. So, my friends, do you realize the extent of the damage to our country? The damage that has already happened, and it's an ongoing problem. I mean, I'm sure you understand the extent. I mean, it is bigger than we can imagine. It's bigger than we can imagine. Remember, there was that report of this guy in New York who allowed dozens of illegal immigrants to be housed in the basement of a furniture store. Remember? So that's the case that we know about. But how many other basements are there in New York City or in Chicago where illegal immigrants are being housed and maybe no one knows about it? So it's just it's so crazy. So I mean, I think what we are seeing is the tip of the iceberg. What we are seeing is the tip of the iceberg. I think the problem is bigger than we can imagine. Okay? I mean, we do understand the extent of the problem, but I think the real magnitude of the problem is much, much, much bigger than what we have seen so far. Okay? Susan writes, people who have vacation homes in Hawaii need a house sitter, usually a student they trust. Susan, exactly. If you have, so here in Wisconsin, I know that many people who live in the city, in Madison, Milwaukee, Janesville, Beloit, wherever, they live in the city. Many of them have vacation homes up north, usually a cabin by some lake. And so, and people have those cabins and they may not be there for months. Maybe They use the cabin maybe, 3 times a year or something. But they have a cabin up. So, Americans, they have every right to own a home, to own multiple homes, to have a vacation home, to have homes in different states. And because of the rule of law, people should be able to feel safe. People should be able to feel like their property is protected. But now, illegal immigrant, this migrant, published a video online, other asking other migrants to invade unoccupied homes. So, I mean, isn't this a serious issue? Isn't this a serious issue? I mean, this is, I think every state needs to needs to change laws to protect homeowners, okay? And some actions need to be taken to make sure that illegal immigrants are not able to occupy people's homes and invoke squatters' rights. Let's see. eRocker78 writes, they are making Chicago and New York look like a third world country. You know, Chicago and New York, they are on a path to bankruptcy, okay? And it may sound crazy, but I really think that New York City and Chicago, both of these cities will end up being bankrupt. Billy writes, they might try to allow people to legalize their basements. So, Billy, are you thinking that the liberals are going to try to change zoning laws and building codes to allow people to live in basements? I don't know. Anything can happen in Chicago and New York. And yeah, Billy, you're writing about panhandling. I see that here in Wisconsin too. Trust me, I see that here in Madison. I see panhandlers. Okay, and many of them have signs that say refugee or asylum seeker, and there's no way to verify that they are legally they are refugees or asylum seekers. They may be individuals who just crossed the southern border illegally and came in. There's no way to verify that. So, it's like, my friends, the direction that we're going, it seems like our country, if we are on this track, our country is going to be completely robbed. Okay? The middle class will suffer the most. The low income Americans will have no resources and no way to receive help. And as many have pointed out, many have called this an invasion. And I mentioned Debbie Lesko. She mentioned the word invasion, Congresswoman from Arizona. Ted Cruz mentioned the word invasion. He said literal invasion, literal invasion. And so if this invasion continues, and if illegal immigrants continue to enter the United States, what's going to happen? What's our future? Let's see. eRocker78 writes, they want to bankrupt us. Americans are going to be bankrupt if this crisis continues. And so the only thing that people can do to change the direction of the country, to change the policies, is to vote for conservatives. And that's why, once again, I'm going to say November 2024, it is extremely, extremely important. It's extremely important. November 2024. That's our opportunity to vote for Donald Trump and to elect him as the president, the 47th president. He was the 45th president. He can be the 47th president. So I'm trying to keep up with all the comments. I see more comments coming in. My friends, if anyone has not joined the conversation yet, please please write something in the chat window. Okay, I would appreciate that. Saturday I spend most of the day at home, and I was watching the news. I was thinking of all these issues, and there are more things I want to talk about. Things that I may not be able to cover during this live stream, but I will be publishing podcast episodes. And yeah, also, if you have not, let's see. So if you have not shared information about my channel with your friends, your family members, and your neighbors yet, please do so. Let's grow the size of this community. I just saw a report that home prices in Wisconsin are, I don't know if they said it's record high or it's increasing. Let me just look it up. Home prices, Wisconsin. I saw something in the news that I'm going to share with you here if I can find it again. Okay. Um, their home prices in Wisconsin have climbed faster than income in recent years. Okay, so home prices have increased so much that the increase has outpaced wage increases. Okay, so which means it's becoming more and more difficult for Americans to buy homes, and demand continue to increase in Wisconsin, and the house prices continue to increase, and also the rent continues to go up, and so housing is becoming a bigger and bigger challenge. Okay, so it's even if your income has gone up, it's still more difficult to buy homes because home prices have gone up, and we know about interest rates that people can't afford a mortgage because of interest rates. And then um, I've talked about many young professionals, young Americans struggling to buy home, because because of inflation and so many other expenses that they have, that they can't afford to buy a home. And if people can afford to buy home, there's that risk of illegal immigrants taking over the property and invoking squatters' rights. So, I mean, can you put all of these together, and it'll tell you how serious this issue is. It seems like real estate, property ownership is becoming impossible. And if this continues, uh, I don't know what's going to happen. The real estate industry, the market, this idea of home ownership, it's going to be completely gone. Um, Billy is writing, some houses here, people put 10 people in it to afford. So, Billy, what state are you in? Are you in Illinois? Where are you, Billy? Terry Brait is here. Terry Brait, thank you for joining. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see more and more people. Oh, Billy, you're in Queens, New York. Okay, Billy. Um, Queens, New York is facing some tough challenges. Queens, New York is facing some real tough challenges. We have another viewer here on my channel, Badger Den. I don't think I saw any comment from Badger Den today, but Badger Den is also from Queens, New York. So now I know that there are at least two viewers on this channel from Queens, New York, Billy and Badger Den. Terry Brait writes, thank you, Tassif. Well, thank you, Terry Brait, for being here. We appreciate your participations. So, you know, the let me have another sip of tea, and I'll say something interesting. My friends, whenever I do speeches at different events, I try to always make people understand the difference between legal and illegal immigration. I think most people understand it, but I go into a little bit more details. I talk about the process of legal immigration and the requirements, and how many people come to the United States legally and how many people come to the United States illegally. We know since Biden came to office, more than 9 million, some say more than 10 million people have entered the US illegally. But on the legal side, we are a very immigrant friendly country. There are people who come to the US legally, and they come here and they work and they pay taxes, and many of them go on and become US citizens. But I know that there are many legal immigrants who absolutely oppose illegal immigration. Why? because on one hand you have individuals who are following the proper immigration process, and sometimes it can take years, and there's paperwork, there's background check, there's biometrics and so on and so forth, and it's pretty expensive too. I mean, just going through the process of naturalization, it can cost you thousands of dollars if you need to hire an attorney. And then on the other hand, people are coming into the United States, uh, without any permission, without any authorization. They're just walking in, and as we saw in El Paso, Texas recently, many of them forced their way into the United States, and after coming here, they expect free stuff. They expect free housing, free food, free medical services, free legal services, and so many other free stuff. So that does not make the legal immigrants happy, okay? Because the legal immigrants are being patient, they are doing everything the right way, and then the illegals, they're just taking the shortcut. And not only are they taking the shortcut to enter the United States, once they are here, they are expecting taxpayer funded services. So, that's what I try to highlight. I try to highlight the difference between legal and illegal immigration. Sorry, there's something in my throat. I just have to take more sips of tea, but it's lukewarm by now because I made this tea as I started just before I started the live stream, and now we're 46 minutes into the live stream, so you can tell that my tea is not even lukewarm. It's cold by now, but I'm still drinking it. Anyway, I just want to ask you: Are you so those who are watching my live stream? Do you prefer to drink tea or coffee? I don't know if I asked that question before. Yeah, I'm mostly a tea drinker. I drink hot tea. Um, Sometimes iced tea, but usually hot tea. And coffee I sometimes drink. I like latte. Terry writes coffee. Billy writes coffee, but I like tea. I like tea too. And my favorite flavor is the English breakfast. So English breakfast. I know a lot of people like Earl Grey. Earl Grey is also nice. It's got a different flavor, obviously. Terry, what kind of coffee do you like? Just plain black, or do you put cream in it, or do you like it sweetened, unsweetened? What kind of coffee do you like? Hazelnut flavored, latte, mocha, cappuccino. I like latte with some vanilla flavor. Terry writes best black. Yeah, just plain black. Billy writes dark, no sugar. Yeah, that's pretty good. Susan writes 1 cup coffee when I wake up, tea and lemonade the rest of the day. I drink oolong. Tea and lemonade is pretty good. Actually, if you make lemon tea, that's even better. You can just squeeze some lemon juice or lime juice in the tea, and that's pretty good. And you can also add some honey. That's even better. Plain black tea, uh, no flavors, just English breakfast. Add some lemon juice. Sorry, add some lime juice. Add some lemon juice, and add some honey. I think that's pretty good. eRocker78 writes, they are violating our laws, coming in illegally, and should be an indicator of the type of people they are. Dishonest, no integrity lawbreakers. Exactly. So eRocker78, that's a very good point. And I see you also like coffee with creamer. So remember, I talked about it. I don't know if you heard me, if you watched that particular live stream when I talked about it, but in New York, we heard about the prepaid card program, right? Prepaid cards for the illegal immigrants. And the condition was that the illegal immigrants can only use those prepaid cards for food and baby supplies. Okay, so my question obviously was, how do you make sure that the prepaid, first of all, the illegal immigrants should not be getting the prepaid cards, but if they are getting the prepaid cards, uh, how do you make sure that they are going to spend it only on um, food and baby supplies? So the New York City officials, I saw that they were saying that the illegal immigrants, the migrants they call it, the migrants will have to sign an affidavit promising that they are going to spend the prepaid cards on food and baby supplies. Now, my question at the time, eRocker78, was these individuals are lawbreakers. By coming into the United States illegally, they have obviously violated our nation's laws. They disregard our nation's laws. So, how can you expect illegal immigrants to sign an affidavit and to follow the words written in the affidavit? I mean, isn't that completely crazy to even think that these migrants are going to sign the affidavit and follow the words on an affidavit? I mean, if they are the kind of people who are going to follow the words written in a legal document or in an affidavit, then they would have come here legally and not by crossing the southern border and entering illegally. So Billy writes, "What a joke!" Exactly, that's a complete joke. Illegal immigrants signing an affidavit. I mean, affidavits are for law-abiding individuals, not for illegal immigrants. They've already broken the law. So how can we expect them to follow the words on an affidavit? eRocker78 writes, "I like French vanilla." I like French vanilla too. I like, creamy latte with some French vanilla flavor. Billy writes, "Lemon and water is my main drink. Very healthy for you. Stop with the soda." Exactly. I try not to drink soda. I'm actually pretty. I try to follow a strict diet, but I have to admit today I had soda. I had a fizzy drink in the morning, a full can. All right, so I'm gonna have to go and work out tomorrow. Get some workout done in the gym. Yeah, sugary stuff. I mean, sugar is okay, but overconsumption is bad. And in a lot of the fizzy drinks, you see there's a lot of, fructose, corn syrup, whatever, sugar, and that's pretty bad. So Billy, I think lemon and water is pretty good. Lemon juice and water. Um, Terry writes, Terry's recommending a certain type of coffee. Terry, I'm gonna check it out. Let's see. Terry Brait writes, Biden Democrats did invite them here starting as early as 2019 before the election. So let me see. There's something in the chat window here. Terry is laughing because I said fizzy drink. Terry, you're laughing because I said fizzy drink. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I use that word, fizzy drinks. You don't like that, Terry? When I say fizzy drink? Let's see. eRocker78 writes, they aren't going to show up for a court date either. Exactly. They get handed a piece of paper that says appear for your court date few years down the road. How can you expect those individuals to show up for court date? Let's see. Terry writes, I'm glad you didn't drink juice boxes. Okay. Cat writes, fizzy lifting drink -1. So okay, I'm probably missing the point here. I'm not very well informed about Willy Wonka. I've heard the name before. But okay, yeah, I know the character, but I don't know too much. I have not read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I think that's the reference, right? Okay. Yeah, I read lots of other books and comics and things, but not the Willy Wonka stuff. But I'm going to have to look it up. All right. Billy writes, former Mayor Bloomberg was at war with the sugar, not so much Soda Corps wanted to stop diabetes. So, so let me just tell you, I think healthcare is a very personal thing. So I believe in taking care of my health. So I know what I should eat, what I should drink, what I should avoid. But I don't like the government coming and dictating how much of what ounce size drink you can buy. I don't like that idea, okay? And I know that in New York they try to do it. They try to limit the size of your drink. It's personal responsibility, it's personal choice, okay? If somebody wants to eat sugary stuff all day, that's that person's choice. If somebody wants to smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol, whatever, I mean, it's all about personal choice, right? I mean, people can consume a lot of different stuff, but everything has to be in moderation. I'm not saying that drinking, having a sugary drink is bad, but having a sugary drink, few times a day or several times in a week may be bad. And then also, it affects us differently at different ages. Maybe for younger folks, it's okay, but as we age, it may be more it may be worse for our health. Um, so um, yeah, so I think personal decision and staying informed is very important. So we have to read the labels. I think food labeling is important. Okay, so I like those laws about food labeling because I think we should be able to know what's in our drink, what's in our food. So when we are buying a packaged food or a packaged beverage, we should be able to know what the ingredients are. Okay, so I like transparency and accountability. But then again, if I want to have, four sugary beverages, 4 cans of sugary beverages in a day, the government can't really stop me. It's not good for my health, but I have to make informed decision about it, right? Um, yeah, so Terry is writing, hypocrites let sick illegals in, but won't let us drink 32-ounce sodas. That's the thing, so as a healthcare policy analyst, I pay attention to public health, but I understand the importance of freedom to make decisions. At the end of the day, if I want, like, French fries are, good to eat once in a while, but because French fries are oily stuff, if you eat French fries every day or twice a day, that may be bad for you over time. But at the end of the day, I have to make my own decision. I have to decide if I want to have large fries every day. If I choose to do so, that's my choice. It's bad for my health, but that's my decision. And so, Americans have the freedom to choose. And what the liberals are trying to do, they're trying to crack down on our freedom. They want to limit what kind of sodas we can drink. They try to limit the sizes. But then on the other hand, as my friend Terry pointed out, they're allowing illegal immigrants with contagious illnesses to come into the United States. So that's not fair. That's not right. Um, yeah, Billy writes, it's not about stopping you from drinking soda. Manufacturers are creating. Yeah, so Billy, that's where I think we have to be more informed, and people will have to pay attention to the labels. So, we have to read the labels to see if the drink contains high fructose corn syrup or the drink contains, raw sugar, cane sugar, whatever. I prefer to take honey, and I take raw sugar when I need to take it, but I try to avoid like sugary stuff. Sugary stuff in general are probably not very good. So Billy writes, don't pay the property tax. You will find out what you own. Exactly. See, even if you own your home, even if you have paid off your mortgage, you still have to pay property taxes, right? Billy writes, orange juice has added sugar. How come? Exactly, Billy. That's mind-boggling to me. I see when I go and buy orange juice, which I usually don't buy anymore because I'm trying to stay away from the sugary stuff. But I see when I'm purchasing orange juice and I'm reading the labels, I see that orange juice has added sugar. I mean, if it's orange juice, let's just have orange juice. I mean, why are the companies adding sugar to orange juice? I mean, orange juice itself is pretty nice. You don't need to add sugar. And so, Billy, I agree with you. How come? How come orange juice has added sugar? Doesn't make any sense. I think the best thing to do is to buy oranges and just squeeze and make your own orange juice at home. Although it's time consuming, right? It's easier to buy it in a bottle. But then you may end up in a situation where your orange juice has sugar. Arletta Jordan writes, I really enjoy your show. Thank you, Arletta. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your compliment. Sheriff of YouTube is here. Sheriff of YouTube, welcome. It's good to see you're here. Sheriff of YouTube is from Canada, if I remember correctly. A freedom-loving person from Canada who tunes in from my live stream. Sheriff of YouTube, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Billy Wiggins writes, pharmaceuticals sell more pills. Yep. Once again, I see. So there are two kinds of patients, right? When somebody is ill, that person can either choose to for more herbal and more, natural remedies, and there are individuals who will ask for medicines and medication to control the symptoms and to recover from whatever illnesses may be bothering. And I understand it's important to take medications. Obviously, if you've got an infection, you have to take antibiotics. If you have breathing issues, you may need to use an inhaler. If you've got an ear infection, you may need to use a drop. So I mean, I understand all of that. Okay, and during the allergy season, although natural remedies are great, but sometimes you may need to take medication to control your allergies. So I understand that, but we have to make informed decisions about our health, and so relying too much on medication may be bad in the long term. Natural remedies may be better, and we have to focus on prevention rather than cure, right? Sheriff of YouTube writes, Canadian MAGA 2024. Thank you, Sheriff of YouTube. You are a freedom-loving person, and we're happy to have you here, Sheriff of YouTube. Thank you for joining. Terry writes, eat the whole orange. It comes with fiber. Exactly, Terry, that's what I do. I have got orange in my fruit bowl. I've got an apple, a green apple, an orange, and maybe a red apple too, and some bananas. So it's always wonderful to eat natural stuff. Now it's absolutely cold, like room temperature. Okay, it's not even lukewarm because I made it over an hour ago, but it's still good, still okay. All right. So I see a conversation here. Arletta writes, hey there, Terry. Terry writes, Sheriff, hi. Sheriff of YouTube is writing, I just eat steaks when I'm hungry and sleep. I feel great without any meds. Steaks are good. Steaks are good. Meat is good. I think we need meat. I don't know how many of you have seen the short videos that I post on YouTube. Most of those are about foods that I prepare at home. So you'll see a lot of meat dishes, but you'll see a lot of vegetarian dishes also. And so, there may be, I don't know how many, more than 150, maybe 160. I don't know. I haven't checked, but I have lots of short videos about foods that I've prepared at home. Please check those out. Terry is writing, how's Justin Trudeau up there? I worry about Justin Trudeau. Yeah, I would love to talk about Justin Trudeau on my channel. Maybe I should do a live stream on Canadian policies. I've actually done at least a few videos talking, at least one, maybe more than one, talking about some things about Canada. And there are some liberals in Canada too, and really like far left liberals in Canada, just like we have here in the US. We've got the Squad, AOC, and some other folks. So there are some strong liberals up in Canada too, up north. Let's see. Sheriff of YouTube writes, I want Trump to build the wall at Roxham Road crossing. So, Sheriff of YouTube, I don't know where the Roxham Road crossing is, but I've got my map here. I may be able to look it up. Let's see. I'm going to look it up. Roxham Road crossing. Is it in Hemmingford, Quebec, Canada? Is that Roxham Road? Let me just see Roxham Road. Oh yeah, Roxham Road. That's the U.S.-Canada border. I see that. Okay, Terry writes, I'm mostly carnivore. Billy writes, lots of greens. Billy writes, look how big elephants are from greens only, LOL. Terry writes, veggies were killing my stomach. Terry, sometimes the fiber-rich veggies can irritate the stomach. I know that can happen. So, yeah, sometimes veggies can really irritate the stomach. So Sheriff of YouTube is referring to Justin Trudeau as a commie, meaning communist. My 2024 budget has me only eating frozen veggies for the winter months. So how is the inflation in Canada, Sheriff? Let's see. Talk to me about the inflation in Canada. If you're seeing inflation in Canada as we are seeing inflation here in the U.S. Let's see. Terry writes, nobody is crossing the Canadian-North Dakota border. LOL. Terry, are you sure about that? Have you seen reports? Have you talked to the folks in North Dakota? Oh, Sheriff of YouTube writes, it's about 25% on regular goods. Oh my God. Is that like 25% increase in prices because of inflation? Wow. That is serious stuff. 25%. Wow. Okay. See, this is what left-wing politicians do. Their policies increase inflation, whether it's Canada or the U.S. The liberals, the left-wingers, that's what they do. Gas is $8 a gallon starting April 1st. Oh my God. $8 a gallon in Canada? Oh my God. All right. I'm going to look it up. $8 gas, Canada. Wow. I'm going to be paying more attention. Terry writes, gas, holy cow. $8 per gallon. And I'm complaining about $3.30 here in Madison, Wisconsin, which is high. It should be $2, I think. Wow. Billy, so Billy, you're seeing 3.25 a gallon in Queens? Okay. We have around 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, just varies, but it's over $3. Sheriff writes, we are at 2 per liter starting April 1st after global warming tax. Global warming tax, 4 liters in a gallon. Oh, okay, 4 liters in a gallon. Okay. Right, okay. So $2 per liter. That's the okay. Wow. Terry writes, Wisconsin has high tax on gas. Yeah, I don't like gas tax. I don't like gas tax. Yeah, anyway. I can complain about taxes all day. All day. I can complain about income tax. All right? You know, you go, you work hard, you make money, and the first thing that the government does, it takes a huge bite out of your paycheck, okay? And then you have to pay taxes on everything else. Sales tax and this tax and that tax. And every time I go to Chicago, I have to pay toll. Okay? I drive from Madison to Chicago, and I don't even have to get to Chicago. You just cross Beloit, okay, in southern Wisconsin, and you go a few more miles, and you keep going to some of the cities that are in northern Illinois, not as far as Chicago, but just some miles from the southern border of the Wisconsin Illinois border, and you have to start paying toll. And the further you go, you're paying more toll. And some exits have tolls. As you get closer to Chicago, in the Schaumburg area, you want to take an exit. You're on the driving on the highway where you have already paid toll. Now you select a particular exit, and you may have to pay a toll at the exit. Can you believe that? Terry writes, it's supposed to fix your roads. Terry, a lot of roads are not fixed. A lot of roads are pretty bad. Sheriff of YouTube writes, in Canada now diesel fuel is more expensive than gasoline. Oh yeah, all kinds of energy. I mean, the energy that you use to heat your homes, the energy that you use to, have, electricity to run your air conditioner, everything now costs more. Terry writes, electric cars are not paying gas tax, but use the roads and they are heavier. Oh, yeah, Terry, I can discuss electric vehicles and gas vehicles for 3 hours straight. I can do that. Sheriff of YouTube writes, so home heating fuel is the same price as diesel fuel after new carbon tax. Oh, these green energy liberals are destroying the economy. Okay? Billy writes, toll roads going up here. Yeah, New York, Billy, I know you said you're in Queens, New York. New York, those New York liberals, they can come up with all kinds of ideas to take more money out of people's pockets. They are going to come up with fees. They are going to come up with toll and taxes, and obviously they're handing out services to the migrants paid for by American taxpayers. So New York liberals, not just New York City liberals, but New York State liberals are destroying that state. Carbon tax. So let's see. Billy writes, my property taxes also just went up, LOL. Oh yeah, those property taxes. Those property taxes. I mean, people will have to pay taxes for owning property. I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway. So Terry Brait writes, our overlords want GPS in all cars and charge by the mile. They'll claim that it makes it fair since electric cars don't buy gas, but EVs are heavier and thus do more wear and tear on the roads. So I talked about, I may have written some kind of I don't know, it was a few years ago. I think I wrote a blog post. I don't remember, but I did talk about, or I did write something about this pay per mile idea. This is bad. This is horrible. If somebody has to pay per mile for driving, it's like it's directly limiting your freedom. It's directly limiting your freedom. Let's say, it's a Saturday night. It's 10:45 p.m. here. Let's say, I want, like, I'm gonna go for a nice drive. Okay, at midnight, I'm free to do that. I can do that. Okay, I'm a freedom loving American. We are free. We can do that. I can decide, hey, it's midnight, but I want to go out. I just want to go for a drive. I want to go for a drive for a half hour. Drive out into the country, drive back. Get some fresh air. If I want to do that, obviously now I have to, I'm using gasoline, and gasoline is expensive. So that leisurely drive is now going to cost me more money. But if the liberals succeed in imposing a per mile tax, that means they are directly limiting how much I'm free to move. If I want to drive 15 miles out into the country and drive back 30 miles total, that's because I wanted to get some fresh air. I wanted to go for a nice drive on a Saturday night. I can do that. But if they impose a per mile tax, they are directly limiting, as I'm driving each and every mile, I'm going to be worrying. Every time I see more and more mile in the meter on the dash, I'm going to be worried because, I'll be constantly aware. I'm constantly going to be thinking that, hey, the more I'm driving, the more money I'm going to have to pay. And that's just, it directly adversely affects people's freedom. And that idea should be defeated. That idea should be defeated. We should never have to pay per mile. We should never have to pay per mile. Yeah, Terry Britt writes, it's bad because they are tracking all your movement. Exactly. Government wants to control our lives. So if they have a tracking device in the vehicle and they're tracking how many miles we're driving, where we are going, what roads we're driving on, that's bad. Terry writes, Terry Britt, exactly. Susan writes, California has a bill to add a per mile fee to the annual auto registration fee. Susan, it doesn't surprise me because it's California. California, beautiful state, but run by liberals, and the liberals are completely destroying the beautiful state of California. California needs conservative leadership. California needs a conservative governor. California needs a conservative majority in the state legislature. California needs conservative U.S. senators. Okay, and I'm hoping that the people of California are going to wake up and they are going to say, you know what, enough is enough. We have seen liberal policies destroy the country. Let's vote for conservative leaders. That's what the people of California should do. And I'm hoping they will do that in the not so distant future. Billy writes, our insurance rates should come down because people are trying to leave cars home. I didn't quite get that. People are trying to cars home. Yeah, are you talking about the auto insurance or home insurance? If you're talking about auto insurance, we know that the auto insurance rates have gone up so much. Auto, right? Yeah, I mean, auto insurance rates have gone up a lot nationwide, Billy, and I'm sure you know that. And the reason for that is many reasons: inflation and the cost of repairs and just overall, lack of availability of parts to do repairs. Terry writes, California has all those 1960s hippies running the state. Well, Terry, California needs new leadership, and I'm hoping that the people of California will watch my channel and they'll listen to what I have to say and they'll agree with me. If you have folks, if you have friends, family members, neighbors, not neighbors. If you're not in California, you can't have neighbors in California. If you have friends, family members, people in California, send them a link to my channel and ask them to watch my videos. I'll be talking directly to the people of California, and I want the people of California to think a lot about the future of the state and to consider voting for Republicans. Vote for conservatives in California. Vote for people who are going to be honest. Vote for people who are conservative and they are not afraid to make bold decisions. Vote for people in California, candidates who will put Americans first. So, my friends, those who are watching my channel, please share my videos with people in California. Okay, ask them to join the live stream and to join the conversation. Terry writes, young voters are swinging to Trump. Yeah, so a lot of young folks, when they start their first job, and when they see their first paycheck and they see what a big bite the government has taken out of their paycheck in the form of taxes, that's when they realize that the conservatives are actually trying to lower taxes and put more money in people's pockets. So I'm not surprised that younger voters are swinging to Trump and that they are going to support Trump. So let me just tell you, and the same goes for young Americans who are starting businesses. Okay, they are not getting jobs, but they are starting their own businesses. But then they are running into roadblocks, lots of different rules and regulations that they have to comply with before they can start their own businesses, right? And so government often makes it very difficult for somebody to invest and start a new business because of all the red tape. So a lot of younger folks, younger Americans, as they are trying to start their businesses, they are realizing that they are running into roadblocks. They are running into different barriers. And so, as they realize that more and more, they are going to be supporting Trump, who wants to cut red tape, who wants to reduce overregulation, who wants to make it easier for businesses, big and small, as well as freedom-loving Americans to thrive and to succeed and to prosper. So yeah, younger folks should support Trump. Billy writes, California keep voting the same people back in. They will never vote conservative. Billy, I understand what you're saying, but I'm hoping, I'm hoping, because hope is one thing that I have. I'm trying to think positive. I understand that California, not just California, even Chicago, even New York City, even there are many other liberal areas where the voters just keep voting the same people back in. And if they don't vote the same people back in, they vote folks who are very similar. So they keep voting the liberals back into office. But I'm hoping that there is a time for change, that they will change their decisions and vote for conservatives. California raises all those fresh veggies, if you like. Um, Terry, yeah, California raises veggies. They've got the climate that favors agriculture. What can I say? Billy writes, look at Chicago. Look at what Chicago did. They didn't learn their lesson with left. Yeah, I talked about it, Billy. I was so shocked. I thought that after Lori Lightfoot, by the way, Lori Lightfoot is just a bad mayor. I mean, completely failed mayor. Remember when Lori Lightfoot launched her campaign and she was dancing on the street and she was saying, vote, 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 and there were drummers playing drums. I mean, that was pretty cool beat. All the beats that the drummers played, and it was kind of funny to watch that Lori Lightfoot is saying, vote, 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 vote. She was asking for vote in Chicago. Anyway, it was very entertaining. But in terms of leadership, Lori Lightfoot is a total failure. Okay, she was not a good mayor. And I thought that, okay, people have rejected Lori Lightfoot. Now maybe they are going to vote someone in who's going to be a better mayor, but that's not the case. They voted Brandon Johnson, and look at what Brandon Johnson is doing. Look at what he's doing. Oh my God. Okay, I've talked about Brandon Johnson before. I'm not gonna do that now. But it's just like complete failure in leadership. He's spending money on the migrants. Um, Terry writes, California has many conservatives, but big cities are full of Democrats. That's the problem, Terry. That's the problem. I mean, there are some strong conservative areas in California, but overall, the state is full of liberals. Um, so anyway, my friends, we're past 1 hour 23 minutes. This has been a longer than usual episode. I thank you all for being here. I'm thinking of concluding today's episode. It's 10:56 p.m. here in Madison, Wisconsin. I want to thank you all for joining. Okay, and I want to thank each and every one of you by name. I know Billy. Thank you for joining. Billy is here. Terry is here. Teresa Ross was here earlier. I don't know if she's still here. Thank you, Teresa Ross, for joining. Susan, thank you for joining. Terry Braid, thank you for joining. Did I miss anyone? Yes. Sheriff of YouTube from Canada, thank you for joining. Really appreciate your participation. Arletta Jordan, thank you so much for joining the live stream, for tuning in. Let me just scroll back and check the live stream. Cat007, thank you so much, Cat, for being here. eRocker78, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that very much. And did I miss anyone? I think I mentioned everyone's name who was here today, who participated in the live chat. Thank you so very much, my friends, for being here. As I keep saying, this is a community. So as you are joining, I enjoy listening to you. I enjoy your comments, your questions. Um, Thank you so very much. You know, I am very grateful. You know, I feel really, really grateful. Okay. So it's getting close to 1 hour 30 minutes. I could continue this longer, but I want you all to get some rest. It's a weekend. You've taken time out of your schedule to join me on a Saturday. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. I'll conclude this. My friend Terry is writing that she's going to get 14 inches of snow this weekend. Terry, please stay warm, stay safe. Thank you all for joining, and I will be back again with more videos, more live stream. Terry Brait writes, thank you, Tassif. Thank you, Terry Brait. Susan, you mentioned Victor Davis Hanson. I have his book. I purchased a book written by Victor Davis Hanson. I haven't read it yet. It's on my list. Victor Davis Hanson is a great individual, a great thinker, a great scholar. Terry writes, thanks to everyone. I enjoyed your sharing. Nice to learn new things about our country and Canadian neighbors. Thank you all so very much. I will be back again with more videos, more live stream. Please stay connected with me and tell your friends to subscribe to my channel and to also tune in for my live stream. Please do that. Share my channel's information with at least one person. Let's get more community members to join. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night. I'll be back again soon.